guys put me to sleep last night.
You want me to sit down and just...
Wherever you want to be. I just want them to see you.
But you cannot sit on my lap.
Well,
Not today.
Coming over this way, or which way we going?
Oh, nice touch.
Boy, girl, boy, girl. Boy, girl, boy, girl.
The name is what, look at him go, okay, because then you think of the other one. You're like, one good thing.
I'm not that big yet. At least I'm working on it. I wish.
Yeah, at least it's like that was like Freddie versus Michael. I know better than the brown stuff. The brown stuff always gives me a hangover.
Yeah. It's naturally flavored. Yeah. It is.
Yeah. There was one that was Freddie versus Michael.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Hi!
Hi!
I used to work for them, so we have a ton.
How you doing?
Delicious.
You're eating good. I know, I haven't eaten yet.
I had a turkey dinner.
Anyway, this is going to be the human terror. Turkey word again. I can only think it would be about the scariest thing being a person. You know, as far as like, Norman Bates, that kind of thing. Or worse, Bundy. So we're going to talk about what really is the human terror. And by that, they're going to come up with ideas too. And we're just going to dive into it because you guys are the writers, so you have to make these scary people or things in your books. I don't. So we're going to start here and introduce yourselves and promote your stuff because that's why they're here, to see you guys.
All right. My name is Trent Duncan. I'm an Orlando local filmmaker. I do epic horror battles on YouTube, so please come grab a little flyer, check it out, subscribe. All your favorite old school horror characters, Freddy, Michael, Jason, Ghostface, in my own little mashed up storyline, fight each other, kill each other, that kind of stuff. So good old time school fun.
My name is Elyse Reyes. I'm an dark urban fantasy writer, and I'm local. Track it down.
My name's Tom Ross. I'm going to hand it over to Jenny. Her and I are partners. I'm actually co-author on one book.
Yeah, we're a buddy.
We're a team. Go ahead, lay it out.
All right. So my name is Jenny Ashford, and I am a horror writer, and I also write paranormal nonfiction. One of which I co-authored with Tom here, who was a poltergeist focus when he was a kid.
Yeah.
And we also co-host a podcast called 13 O'Clock.
Yeah.
And it has it's all different it's paranormal stuff.
Yeah.
Serial killers, UFOs, Nazi occult, anything like that.
If you like our bell, you'll love it. Especially the YouTube version.
That
Go ahead
kind
and
of,
sub on 13 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's only 2 months old. It's already doing good.
Yeah.
We also work with British parapsychologist Steve Barrow.
Yeah, we've written a bunch of his cases.
We've written up on his cases. So.
Yeah.
I'm LJ Heydorn, primarily epic fantasy author. I have my own personal YouTube channel as well as one that's called The Scribbler's Rest, where we just take a bunch of Florida creative types, authors, cosplayers, etc., and we sit down and we play board games or role-playing games like Dungeons & Dragons, Pathfinder, etc.
Is that with William?
Yes, it is.
I know William. He was on the Panelists a couple years ago. Yeah,
he might be working today.
Oh, okay. Yeah, cool. So that's actually really cool. I've seen it. So yeah, definitely check it out.
I want to play.
We invited you.
I know, but the thing is, I would lose my head if it wasn't
We'll invite you
attached to
again.
my body. I forgot.
We'll start back up in January.
Thank you. Okay. Hi, I'm RJ Jojola. I write dark fantasy is what I have published right now, but I also have another series coming out very soon. It's like serial killer / vigilante / paranormal thriller coming out. It's sort of like The Punisher meets True Blood meets Jessica Jones kind of thing. But I write really dark stuff, apparently, so that's why I'm here.
I'm Scott Marlowe. I'm a cryptozoologist. I write about animals that have not yet been proven to exist by science, primarily.
We got to hook up.
But do they exist?
I love that stuff. I love that stuff.
Do they exist? They just haven't been proven to exist.
Some of them do. We find about 300 a year. It's just that we don't find Bigfoot or Nessie or the chupacabra.
Those are the
ones that get all the press.
Where is Bigfoot? Come on.
Let's give it up for our authors. That's what we're doing. My name is Justin. I run a radio show with a podcast and called Underground Horror Radio. Anyway, we're not here about that. We're here about the authors and their awesomeness. So the human terror. Really, what can we say about it? Like the human terror. Like what makes it people? The
That's
human,
all there is.
Scary.
Well, I mean, after all, we are the scariest animal on the planet.
Very good.
Even Anton
I
LaMay
mean, I'll
said
go
that.
out in the forest by myself anytime. I'm not worried about the animals. I'm worried about the people I run into.
Occupation. I have my stepmom is a nun, ex-nun.
Ooh, Gary.
That doesn't put fear into you, you know.
Just got goosebumps.
Yeah.
Only if I put a ruler in her hand.
Yeah, well, yeah. Been there, done that.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of want to speak to it for a moment, just because I feel like it touches me personally. Human terror is such a sensitive subject for a lot of people to talk about, but we do create all the evil, and then when we are touched by evil, sometimes we create more evil because something that was done to us, and then we do it to other people, and so the cycle of the evil deeds continues to go forth. And I think that's a big part of creating evil characters, is they were done wrong by somebody or something, had something evil happen to them, so then they try to rectify it, and it's just that evil cycle of humanity in general.
Or people who believe that the only way to fight evil is with more evil.
Right. Precisely.
That's always makes it cool characters when they start out good and they turn evil.
What about the characters that just start out bad?
Turn
What about to
good.
start bad for some reason and start to turn good?
Everyone has a backstory. Everyone has a reason
They're never
as to
just
why
born
they
that
are the way they are. Unless they're a
Sometimes they are.
psychopath, which means you're born that way.
I mean, I think people can be broken to begin with. I mean, there's just something just not right. That
Just like doing.
Try working
Come
in
on.
juvenile detention.
I was a teacher at a Title I school. Does that count?
Yeah, well, almost. I actually taught at a youth correctional center. Believe me, there's evil.
No.
There's evil. But you know, the idea that all kids are good, yeah, that's true too. But some are just not inclined towards doing things the good way.
I think that's a
Sometimes the bad way is just more
Not
fun.
entirely.
well,
But what do we think is scarier in fiction? Someone that just does bad because they like it, or one that has a backstory that kind of made them that way?
When they open up to you.
What is scarier, or what is more effective in fiction, maybe?
It's one of those things, I think, like some of it needs a reason, and then some of it, the mystery was enough. Like, I think Halloween, the first Halloween, and you know, why did this normal kid, there was not the Rob Zombie stuff where we're an abused home and all that. No, normal, nice looking family. We don't know how they really were. We just saw them for 2 seconds. But normal
Exactly.
kid, and then one day picks up a butcher knife. And then the second one, they're like, oh, he had a sister. Okay, fine, whatever, cool. After that, then they went into trying to Thorn and this and that, and it's like it took away the mystery. And then and the remakes or whatever, they just basically like threw this here. This is this backstory. Here it is. And we're like, we didn't really need that.
And I definitely think that made Michael Myers much less scary. Rob Zombie's remake, I'm talking about specifically, which I like Rob Zombie, but I really did not like that.
Oh, no.
Because I said I didn't want to see Michael Myers as a kid that I sympathized with. He's not scary anymore then, because he has a reason for acting the way he acted. I mean, you know, not a good reason probably, but you know.
Didn't really explain it that well.
It didn't really explain it that well, but I think he was better more as a cipher, like, you know, someone who was just, although, I mean, you could argue he wasn't entirely human because he kept coming back after he got killed, but, you know, he looks like a person, so for all intents and purposes, he's a person.
Well, I think like another good example of that did work out pretty well. And maybe not everybody saw these movies. I just finally got to see them, but they're out in the Maniac Cop.
Yeah.
So the first one, really, the series is good because it gets campy and Bruce Campbell's in it, like right after Evil Dead 2 kind of thing. But it turns out that this was like a really good cop, and then the people that were running things were corrupt, so they threw him in jail. But instead of being weak, he would fight back, and he got cut up. So now he hates the system for what they did to him, and he became kind of like this monster in a way. So you go, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense now. There's this character, and this goes with it. Now you see why there's this guy dressed as this cop killing people. And then it becomes supernatural stuff later, which is, I feel like that stuff is cool. I do, but story-wise, whatever.
In some ways, I think that almost makes an anti-hero.
And like the Punisher.
Yeah.
You know, the
I
Punisher
love
or...
Yeah.
you know, any of those types like that were, you know, wrong somehow. So the best version of the Punisher would have been Bronson. Death Wish.
Bronson was. God, that was
Death Wish
good.
was a great movie, and they're all fun, but it was a great movie just because you got this normal guy that his daughter and his wife was attacked and nobody did anything, so he's trained himself, you know, and so it's the human terror is not always, you know, justified, but it's not always a mystery. So which is scarier? That is a really good point. You know, where you have why did this happen, or okay, you know why this happened. This is okay. Which is worse?
I mean, personally, I think it's scarier in fiction if you don't know their motivation. Because, you know, you don't know other people's motivations. They could snap at any time and do whatever to you. And to me, that's scarier, the chaotic, you know, aspect of it. But, like I said, when you know their background, you know why they're doing what they're doing, and you can kind of sympathize with it. Like,
then you're like anti-hero.
Then, yeah, then you're like, now I kind of like that, so he's not really a monster anymore.
But isn't that the human thing?
Right.
I mean, the only animal that can hide its intent is a human. If you look in an animal's eyes, you know what the animal's thinking, if it was going to attack you or not. But with a human, I mean, you turn your back, you're going to get a knife in it.
Passive aggression.
Yep.
We also have to ask ourselves, what is evil? What is the nature of it? A lot of the things that you'll hear, especially in the news, people would say, oh man, that's evil that happened. But if you were to investigate exactly what happened, it probably wasn't evil, more like stupidity. So sometimes stupidity can masquerade as evil.
A lot of times,
yeah.
Don't you also have to kind of ask, I mean, what is evil? Isn't evil
Yeah, what is it?
subjective? I mean, what I think is evil, someone else could think it's purely fine, and what someone else thinks.
And the person
justifiably evil.
It's relative.
Well, we were talking about it earlier. Negan, is he evil or is he good? Everybody knows that story.
Yeah, and it almost like depends on your perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, if you had been in Negan's group from the beginning of the apocalypse,
As a warlord.
then to you, he might not seem, I mean, he might still seem like a bad guy, kind of, you know, but not really.
Well,
Yeah. And in a way, I mean, he had justification. All these guys got killed. Like, all these guys got killed.
Right.
So from his point of view, he's like, well, that can't happen.
From his point of view, he let them off easy. They killed all of his
They
men.
killed
But
like
there's a
however
difference.
many men it was.
Unprovoked.
There's a difference between, I
They
think,
didn't mess with
what's
that yet.
evil about it is a line that is sort of gets crossed for some people and it's relative. The difference between maybe Negan and someone else is that he systematically desensitizes the people around him by doing violence in such a way that's just, it's brutal.
Like the army.
He could have just
Yeah.
shot them, but no,
Yeah.
he doesn't just
Yeah,
shoot
he's
you.
making
They're glorified.
He's creating a spectacle,
Yeah.
which to some people, the creation of the spectacle is what's evil about it. Not that he killed them, that's not evil,
That he made
but
them
how
watch.
he did it,
But that's the same thing.
his
like,
method.
But
going
that's
back
what
to
broke
medieval
Rick Warren
times.
anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Kings and queens forever were doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And then one day we decided, okay, that's crossing a line. You know, medieval punishment is no longer a thing.
But in the
Isn't
zombie
the
apocalypse, all
isn't
that's
the difference
gone.
between
There's no
Yes,
rule.
it is.
Isn't the difference here between something that's bad or unfortunate or tragic and evil your intent in committing whatever act it is?
But technically, like in that example for Negan's group, he's basically judge, jury, and executioner of the new world
Right.
against people who just committed mass murder against his society.
When all he required was just half of everybody.
Which
Well,
that,
he
that,
did
goes-
then.
that's just a monarchy. That's
Right.
the way it was.
It-
Medieval monarchy.
I think the thing about it is it's really point of view and perspective. Like, for instance, if you wrote some of the stories before from the other characters, not Rick's group, but whoever Rick was fighting against, from their point of view, Rick's the goddamn monster.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Rick's the one
absolutely.
shooting up everybody and macheting them, and you know. But we grew with Rick from the get-go. So we're like, he's an ex-cop. He's just trying to do right by his friends and his family. So it's totally.
Or in
Well,
his
you only
head,
have
something
that
rationalized
one
for him.
perspective. You don't
Right.
have the opposite perspective of what is it like on the other side and why is it that way. Maybe what they're doing is more justified than what Rick is doing, for instance.
If you haven't seen it.
And it's all about sensitization too, because what can bring terror to one person might not. I mean, I have friends that can't even watch like PG-13 movies because they jump at everything that happens. That's terrifying to them. Whereas
Meanwhile,
I'm
we're
sitting
watching
here like,
Hard R like this.
all right, can we do something else? Like,
What,
know what
what
I mean?
Negan's doing is taking it down to the primal level.
yes.
Yeah. It's where humans are animals. They just talk. Some of them have to be learned by demonstration. You show them. And he's doing this in a society that has no rule of law.
It's everything broken down now.
Yeah.
It's completely
So
back to
he's
basics.
taking it back down to basics. This is what happens to you if you defy me. Nothing about right or wrong, just me. I'm in charge.
They're also kind of showing like societal reset because that's the way things were
Work.
then.
Right. It's gone
Now
back to
after
that.
the apocalypse, it's starting back.
It's starting back again.
Even if he shows weakness, then somebody else in his plans
Will kill him.
jump up. So
Yeah.
he has to.
Yeah.
So you
See,
can't put
the
it all
problem
in his
is-
head.
He might not
It's-
like it, but he does it to dominate.
It's really back to the animal thing. It's like you have a pack.
Yep.
You got to be the alpha because if you show weakness, someone else is going to try to take your stuff, and then you're out.
Yep.
You did that by wreaking havoc and terror on the people around you.
Yeah.
So-
So I got a question for all the folks here. Let's. What do you think's more scarier? So the human that is evil like that, just like a regular person that's evil, or like a made-up character like a Freddy or a Jason that comes in and they chop up some people. So what do you guys kind of like in some of the stuff you've
Well,
read?
wait a minute. Are we talking about a fictional character versus the real one?
Sure, because in movies
Obviously,
they
the
create-
real one.
Yeah. Well, he also meant realistic.
Oh,
too.
okay.
Like a realistic character that way, or a real.
Yeah, that's because I mean movies and books also come with both types of evil
Well,
characters.
humans are terrifying. They're everywhere. Look how many humans are in this building. We don't know each of them from Adam. What if they suddenly turned evil? Do you know what I mean? That's terrifying. You don't know what people are thinking. That in itself is terrifying. If you're an agoraphobic, I'm sorry. I just set you back in your therapy, but I mean, if you think about it for a second, you don't know what other people are thinking or what they're capable of. So that in itself is terrifying because it's always a possibility.
It's like the Purge series.
Right.
But for the most part, there's still a social contract more
Right.
or less. So
Right.
we have
Most
that,
consequences.
and there is law enforcement, and there are courts out there. So it's not as bad now as it could be.
Right. Most people treasure their freedom
Yeah.
more than their second.
And honestly, you know what's weird though? Like in my own fiction and stuff that I like, that I find frightening, even though I don't really believe in the supernatural, I don't really believe in monsters or anything, I always find that scarier than movies with human monsters, and I'm not really sure why that is.
Because you know how to kill a human, you don't know how to
That's-
kill a
That's
I
yeah,
know
that
where
could be it.
that's
Because it's
what-
like, well, I know what humans are like, so it's not a surprise.
Oh my God.
But
When
there's-
it's like a monster, it could be anything.
There's a hybridized version of that though. Look at the fire starter.
Yeah.
She was just a little girl, but she could do things that a monster could do. She could start fires just by thinking about it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
very
but she
similar.
never did it without a reason.
Yeah, but that's also similar to say, The Exorcist. That was a little girl that had powers from the devil. You know.
Have you seen
So
that?
a human can, and then you have Jedi. Those are human beings, and Sith. They're human beings. Then they have these what appear to be supernatural powers. So that's kind of like a human monster too.
Have you seen the Cloverfield 2?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh, the
Yeah.
10 Cloverfield Lane.
I heard an interview
Right.
with the writer on a podcast, and he was just talking about how, if you haven't seen it, I apologize.
Talking about 10 Cloverfield Lane, correct?
10 Cloverfield
Yeah.
Lane, yeah, and about how the first Cloverfield was a monster movie with real monsters, and in the second movie you kind of got to figure out what the monster is, and it's not what you think it is,
Have
because
you,
it's not a what, it's a who.
have you, or has anybody seen a movie called The Divide?
No.
Because if you watch 10 Cloverfield Lane, they stole everything from
Really?
The Divide.
Oh, wow.
Everything. And The Divide is so much better.
I'm gonna watch it now.
So much better. It was an independent film, and it didn't have like big name. It had Michael Biehn in it. Michael Biehn, Terminator.
Michael Biehn.
Michael Biehn. He was in it, and then a couple other folks. But it really goes into the psychology of people. They get fucked up and they turn and they do some twisted stuff.
All because of their own fears.
Because of their own fears. Like you think, who do you think is the good guy? Totally turns and just becomes the psycho.
That reminds me of another
But The
weird-
Divide, total ripoff. If you've seen 10 Cloverfield Lane and you go watch The Divide, you'll be like, dude, that guy.
Another one that would be related to this along the same lines was John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
That's
One of the
right.
best of all movies.
What did
One
you
of the
say?
best.
The Thing.
Thing.
Well, the best thing about it was that
You didn't-
the monster could be a human, but it might
Yeah.
be something else, and you never knew
That's
who it
it.
was.
And they were killing
It's like
people.
the fear of the unknown, though.
That's-
that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
That's like what, like you said, ghosts and stuff. We truly don't understand them. Like some cultures believe like in gems, so they think they've been around all the time.
Yeah.
Multi-polytheistics.
Yeah,
It's
because
the
there
fear
are
of
no
the
rules,
unknown.
really.
Yeah.
And for me, that is actually less scary than humans, because, at least from my perspective, I can assign emotion and motive to another human being. If it's a supernatural creature, as far as I know, they're just killing for the hell of it. You know, when, going back to what RJ? Yeah, yes, I remember. Was saying, you know, we have emotions and stuff. I can't project that onto a werewolf or whatever the creature from the abyss is. Humans, I know what kind of twisted shit they can do. Excuse my language. And that's what scares me.
That's why we personify animals so much.
We are.
That's true.
I think for the
We only say we're not animals because we don't want to think of ourselves.
Yeah, but we're animals.
But we are animals.
Walk upright.
And
But
we,
we
frankly,
use
we're the
animals'
worst.
human attributes. You know what I mean? All the time, because we're so obsessed with our reality that we don't even.
I think with the human, like we were saying earlier about the human terror as far as people, a good example would be like, say, Scream. You don't know who the killer or killers are, which really was what made it work was, okay, you're playing the guessing game. Because back in the day, it's like, you know that's Jason. Okay, cool.
Scream was terrifying.
Scream works so well because of the fact that you really could imagine yourself sitting in your living room
With your friends.
with somebody calling you up, and they're standing in your yard staring at you, and you have no idea.
Or the strangers.
I mean,
Oh
yes,
God, I
that
can't
is
even watch that.
absolutely
I watched it
terrifying.
one time.
Scream,
I was like,
though,
no.
with that movie, they took so much out of that film by the end of it because it ended up getting an X rating. And one of the parts they took out of it that is only briefly in it now is actually just showing how insane the killers were in the kitchen when they're just standing there stabbing each other. And that part right there made everybody so uncomfortable when they watched it to rate the movie. They were like, you can't put this in there.
Never mind
Because
the
they
guts
just
coming
sat
out.
there for like a minute and a half just stabbing each other. There's
It's
blood
just
everywhere.
disturbing.
Blood.
Back
And
to
it's
the
just disturbing.
good old
You're
days.
thinking,
I think it's the unexpected, the totally unexpected. It's one thing when someone just comes up and just, you see something in their hand and you know they're going to kill somebody, but it's another thing when it's just like they're just acting normal, then all of a sudden it just lets loose, or they do something, or the way they do it, the way they enact their death upon somebody, or torture.
I like that you said The Strangers. I think that was one of the most terrifying movies I've ever seen in my life. Because for no rhyme or reason whatsoever, I'm minding my own business, someone's showing up at my door to kill me.
I think
And I'm in the middle of nowhere.
Because you're home.
because you're home. Yeah.
I'm in the middle of nowhere. I have nowhere to go. And really, what am I going to do? Unless I have a
You
big
got a
phone.
question? Oh, I thought you
I was
guys
just
were-
fixing my
That
hair.
goes,
Sorry.
that goes back to what I was saying about the
Get a
people
little
who do
something.
evil things just for
For
fun,
fun. Right.
basically.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of those movies now and books that are like that with, obviously like Shining, which, but there was a reason that how the place was, but then how could it have been, how twisted would it have been if it's like, no, there was never really haunted, he just lost his mind. That's scary too, because isolation will make you nuts.
Yes.
That's the whole thing that made the thing scary. It wasn't like they were here. It was because they were stuck in the Antarctic in the middle of nowhere, freezing.
Yeah, there was
No place to go.
It's like that's what Alien. No, you're in space. No one can hear you scream, except the people in the TIE fighters when they die in Star Wars.
It's just through the radio that's still transmitting after they blown up.
For me, those two movies were the scariest because maybe it's my age and how old I was when I saw them. The Thing and Alien, because they were plausible.
Alien is amazing.
They weren't. Those were monsters that could be aliens. An alien can be a monster, and that could exist.
It wasn't E.T.
And then
E.T. was terrifying.
and on the Thing, you could be talking to a guy that you know for years, but he's the Thing, and you don't know that.
Gotten him, and you didn't know it, and the way organisms in
That was
there.
the scariest.
That was
aspect of
scary. And I watched that movie many, many times and tried to figure out who the Thing was, and I boiled it down to who had changed their clothes. There was a couple times where I noticed a character was in different clothes. But there's a couple scenes earlier that, got him.
But at the end, you don't know.
You don't really know.
You probably Kurt
Childs
Russell
was the
okay.
Thing. Childs was the Thing. Because remember what?
I
I'll
think
tell you
that
what.
was the implication. Yeah.
Childs was the Thing. Okay, what was his name? McCready?
Yeah.
Great, yeah.
McCready was playing chess against a computer. He was losing. So he pours
the whiskey.
whiskey in it. Fuck it. Fried it. At the end, Child comes up, he offers Child's whiskey. To me, that meant he's in that same situation. He's losing. This must be the thing.
And when the drink gets because whiskey and whiskey on it.
You like that one? That was deep one.
There's the
He lost the chess game. He lost the chess game with the thing.
I literally watched that movie 4 times.
There was only 2 of them left.
And it was like a
crazy.
stalemate.
Like a stalemate.
Yeah.
That's how I read it.
Well, he said we're going to die out here.
We're both going to die out here. You got nothing left to lose, and they give him some whiskey, and that's pretty much it. And that reminded me of when he poured the whiskey down into the computer. Which makes me think that what they didn't show you is that after Childs took the whiskey, he fried him.
What actually happened was this. He went on and lost his eye, McGrady, and he ended up serving time in New York. And Childs ended up going to L.A. to work with Roddy Piper. And they got into a fist fight for like 2 hours.
And then before that, he got in big trouble.
Then the plausibility of Alien 1. You're just these blue-collar dudes out in space, in a spaceship. You're not astronauts, you're just working. All right? You're just working out there, and you're getting raped by an alien. You get to carry its baby. And it's going to be half you.
You get raped in the face.
Face rape, that's really fucked up, man. It's alien rape.
Face rape.
What about
With tentacle. And it's plausible.
Another James Cameron one, The Abyss, where the creatures
underwater.
Love that one. And of course, same kind of premise. They're isolated down there, but of course they're good. But then people think they're bad, and one wants to eliminate them just because they have no understanding of them.
Exactly.
So that's another.
Are they really good though? I mean, they kind of hold a gun to the whole planet and do a Day the Earth Stood Still, saying, "Okay,
it's arguable, but yeah,
we're taking your own right to destroy yourselves out of your hands. Otherwise, we'll just do it for you." It's like I look at the Abyss as a conquest where we lose.
Event Horizon, that's terrifying. That's terror. That's an unknown. That's something completely unknown, and you're in space all alone. There's nothing.
I feel like Mad Max trying
That's
to
official world.
trying to get the last drop of gasoline.
Event Horizon.
But back to the thing.
I thought you were saying Deepwater Horizon.
The scariest thing wasn't, not the thing, They Live. It wasn't so much the blue aliens that pulled the wool. It was that we let the wool get pulled. Not everybody.
Like that's happening now.
They let it happen. So those humans, like you said, the one guy Roddy Piper was going to shoot, he was a human. He's like, get out of here. You know what I mean? Like it's like they don't know there's aliens, so their people are acting, crazy because they're going after the people that know what's up because they don't know what's up. That's scary because again, we got people, human beings, doing the whole. If they're going, we should go with them. Because once you get groups going and people thinking the same idea, it gets real bad. I think WW2 was formed on that.
Groupthink is the most terrifying.
I think
more terrifying than
creatures and ghosts, personally.
I think They Live inspired the Alex Jones reptilian story. That's exactly.
Yeah, I think
so many good.
I think that's where they got.
The reptilian.
Was it David Icke or
that's the same story.
or whatever his name is?
Yes.
He's the one that came up with the reptilians. Like the royal family were reptilians.
Not to say there aren't rich people pulling strings. That doesn't mean that. That means exactly.
They're not reptilians.
They're not reptilians, though. No, they just don't give a shit.
Speaking of World War II evolving, I read an entire book by a brilliant psychologist. It's called The Lucifer Effect.
Oh yeah.
Oh
read
yeah,
it.
we read that. Yeah.
How normally good people do bad things.
And it's not that difficult, which kind of is
you are
kind
a
of
person that
freaky.
obeys authority.
They can, they can pretty much.
I saw a YouTube video on they were doing like these little electrical shocks on people who
and the
supposedly had
Stanford
heart
prison
experiments.
experiment.
Yeah.
Just normal everyday people.
It was shocking. No pun intended.
They're not allowed to do those experiments anymore.
Oh, well,
it's illegal, but back in the day, they made progress.
It was all fake. Like the guy was acting like he was having
like he was getting shot. Yeah.
And they're like, oh my god, I can't do this anymore. This guy's really hurt. And the guy's like, oh no, it's okay. I'll take responsibility for it. Just go ahead.
But what they found is that it was unethical toward the person on the other side doing the shocking because it traumatized them.
Oh, really?
Because they thought they were doing the shocking and they ended up being traumatized by it because they just did what they were told.
They can't they also did some kind of experiment on this child about how to make him afraid of a funny.
Yep.
And it messed them
Oh,
up
I
for, like,
remember that.
Yes,
the rest
yes,
of his
they
life.
call him Patient Zero.
Something like that. It was
Yes.
of course one in the 70s
And he couldn't be around anything white after that. Anything.
What?
Yeah, they
White
traumatized him
rooms,
again. They used
nothing.
like it was like that aberrant conditioning thing where every time they expose you to that stimuli, then they punish you. And when they do
would
it
do a
young
bang.
enough,
Yeah.
They do clashing.
if they do it
Yeah, so
young
he was-
enough,
he
then
was
when they
afraid
get
of
older, it's
fuzzy white things.
yeah. So yeah, he
Technically
could no
illegal
longer.
to do that.
So here's another good example of people and the terror that they've created. So like Scott, with animals or say, creatures and stuff, what's worse? You got the creature doing its thing, or then you get somebody else involved that's a person. It's like, we can use this for something else. Now you got the human element involved with the you see? I can't even.
My first novel, or novella. This is, I'm sure all of you by now, because you all sound like you're really into this stuff, have heard about Stalin's experiments trying to create a human-ape hybrid.
Yes, Human Z.
Human Z.
Even the IQ test was
Human Z
developed.
warrior.
Nazis in
This
World
is
War II.
about America attempting to do the same thing. China has also been experimenting with it back in Prohibition era. And the story came to me through a person who came to one of my book signings at Ripley's up in St. Augustine and told me the story, and I started doing the research. It took me a good 10 years to do the research. And what scared the bejesus out of me doing the research is they crafted stories about Al Capone and his people killing people in the Everglades, yada, 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 which was all turned out to be all BS to cover what they were doing.
Making the Human Z?
Yeah.
They really made it?
That's
Tried
right.
to?
Well, according to one of the Cornell professors, yes, they succeeded. It was the Yerkes Institute, which at the time was based here in Jacksonville.
Then it became the skunk ape. Oh my God! I'm putting
Well,
pieces together.
some of the sightings might be, the skunk ape down there might be, these remnant creatures because they were taken down there to a private location where they apparently still are.
So you're saying they were engineered?
Yes, exactly.
They're
it's
not
a Frankenstein
natural, they're
story.
engineered. Okay.
But
So much more sense now. Now I'm in.
But now that I've written the book, the fact that we would try to conduct experiments like that scared the hell out of me. But now that I've read, done all the backstory stuff and looked at it, you know what scares me the most? The reason why humans would have wanted to do this.
Which is?
The same principle as the Holocaust. If you create a master race, us, who's going to do all the dirty work?
Yeah.
You need slaves. We wanted to create slaves.
As long as they're not really human, then
Exactly.
Right,
They're
it's
not
gonna
subject
be like
to the
Battlestar
same rules.
Galactica
We got
again.
So, and that scares the bejesus out of me because I know bloody well the CIA's been conducting experiments like this with other things, drugs and what have you, on people unknowing.
Now, see, to me, that's fucking horror, man. That scares the shit.
That is scary.
If it actually happened, you think it happened? From your research. That they
I have
attempted
my
or
doubts
they-
about the genetics, but I'm not so sure it didn't happen.
Theoretically, it would be almost kind of like the same, like creating a mule. The difference between a donkey and a horse, and you can crossbreed it, but it'd be sterile. The thing is,
I know genetically because I've done enough studying in the past that
aren't
at
there a
one
different amount of
time-
chromosomes in a chimpanzee, though?
Yes, chimpanzees actually have one more chromosome than we do.
Yeah,
because
one
two of ours are
fused.
fused.
So how would you overcome that?
Well, you get the same problem between the donkey and the horse, but it still makes it,
It would still do- it
not
still does.
necessarily viable
All
offspring.
right, man, I'm gonna leave you to that.
Well, no, because it still happens in us. Like, we can still have 27 or 25. It happens. It's like 1 in 1,000. It happens in medically.
Typically, it creates a non-viable. In
Just
other
one
words,
more,
a
it counts as,
sub-animal that can't
retardation,
reproduce
that's one
itself,
more.
but that's not
One
true.
less is
Sometimes they can.
But how many tries would you have to do to get a success?
I don't know, but today, this is even more frightening because we've got genetic engineering.
You might be able to overcome
today.
it. Yeah.
We can overcome anything with genetics now.
There you go, genetic.
Cryptozoology, that's why I like that, man.
What do you find more horrifying? Someone who tries to justify their evil for like the greater good and all that, or someone who just does it for fun? What's scarier to you guys?
A lot of them know because serial killers follow the second thing. It's both bad.
Somebody who isn't
Well, they're both
governed
bad.
by ethics.
Well,
yeah. I think it's scarier
we're
to
trying
let
to-
someone just do it for the hell of it.
But then for the greater good thing, then all of a sudden you're trying to
more of
moralize
it.
something that's actually about numbers, not so much about morals.
I
Like, do you
think-
kill half the
You think about
population to
legal
save
movement,
them?
Taco
You know what I mean?
Tuesday.
What would happen?
Greater good.
What's it?
Well, I just read about a lot of articles about this couple went missing in August. Everybody thought something bad had happened because they left their Pomeranian dog alone in this house, and that never happened. About a month later, they posted on social media on Facebook saying, "We're okay, don't worry about us." But it was like not anything. It didn't sound like them. The mom was
vague.
Yeah, the mom was even like, "This is not them." About last month, the girl was found in a cage, chained up with a collar, underground, and the boyfriend had been shot and killed in front of her.
Talking South Carolina.
This is in South Carolina. There were 4 other bodies they found on the property, and he's admitted to more murders. He also
That
murdered
guy.
people
Yeah, I
out
know
in
John.
Arizona as
Okay,
well.
that's scary.
Yeah.
He's a real estate agent, and nobody knew anything
Oh
about
my
him.
God.
Real estate.
He's got a really good
I might write about doing it, but I won't actually do it.
Sure, I'm sure he has books too.
But not about elves.
hypothetical books.
He was here in May, right?
No, jeez.
See, I don't know. That to me is like more terrifying.
That is
than-
scary.
'cause that's
We are not
his
affiliated
background.
with
That
him.
is a guy right there who is doing this, and he has no reason. He's not giving anybody reason, and his mother was defending him.
Oh,
Of
that's,
course she was. Why
see,
do you
there
think
it
he's
is.
so messed up? Because
Jeffrey
she's
Dahmer
messed up. That's
There
what I'm
it is.
saying.
The mother knew?
Yeah.
You gotta be
She's
careful what you
defending
say
him.
and do to your children, because you
She's
can
gotta
destroy
go.
them even when
She
you're
gotta go.
See, this is when
You gotta go
the
there.
Punisher angle comes
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Well, that's because you try to rationale that reasoning, going, wait a minute, there must be a reason that this person did that. I mean, they mean something to me. They just wouldn't have just done it for no good reason.
Well, just think about it. If you got away with everything your whole entire life because your mother never punished you and thought you were a perfect angel, why would you just keep pushing the limits? Think about it.
Yeah.
But no,
this is
To answer your question, I see the
most of those dudes are like really connected to their mom. Like remember,
Norman
Bates?
Bates.
based off not
Ed Gaines.
Ed Gaines. He was really close to his mom. That all didn't happen until his mom died. When he dug her up and put her back in the basement.
But he
That
didn't have
happened in
normal
real life.
Jason?
Not even Jason.
I'm saying Jason
Jeffrey
was
Dahmer.
all-
Like I just
Jason
said,
was
Jeffrey
also
Dahmer's mom was like, "No, my son wouldn't do that." Like, we have proof, and she was like, "Nah." Not my boy Jeffrey.
He also had,
Norman Bates.
antisocial
He's more of a
personality.
thigh bone kind of guy.
His
He's
mom
not
defended all the way up to like prison.
Let's toss this up. What's an example of an evil character that, say, is not necessarily blood and murder or manipulation? What's like maybe a small but profound villain in fiction?
The main character in Mean
Jigsaw?
Girls,
I
Regina
mean, he doesn't
George.
actually do anything.
Psychological.
Yeah, that's
Fucked
good.
up,
Psychological
man.
weapons
These
there.
people kill themselves.
I thought this up, but it's like the stepfather of David Copperfield, who moves on in, beats the hell out of David, sends him away, and then mysteriously his mother and his baby brother die, and the fortune leaves to him. Maybe he did something, maybe he didn't. But that scene with Basil Rathbone is like, you know what I do when a horse displeases me? I whip him. I whip him to his black and blue, and then he proceeds to get the crap out of him.
I think the closest to what you're
Black
talking about.
Dahlia.
Closest to what you're talking about would be somebody, some kind of institutional evil. That for instance, what was the name? What was the one that had? It was called A Few Good Men.
Yeah.
The Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
That would be close to that. Institutions can be very evil.
Or like
Well,
there's
because
they're
without really
comprised of
intending to
so
be there.
many, they're
Yeah.
comprised of so many people
Yeah,
with
it's-
their own intentions, but it's so easy to pass the buck.
Kim Jong
Right.
Un affected his wife who missing for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And nobody asked about her.
So I think that's why, and I think that's why people find the Nazis so scary. Is just because
That was an
it's because
institutional evil,
Yeah,
yeah.
because a lot of them were just normal
Regular
people.
guys.
They had families and dogs
Yeah.
and whatever, and they're just like, I just
Sure,
went to
go
work
with
and
it.
gassed
But
some
that
Jews.
doesn't that
you know
speak
what I
to
mean?
an
It's like,
to an
And then they
even
came home and
worse
kissed their
situation?
wife.
yeah, it's like that's what's really
Where
scary.
because
Oh,
of money
doing
and
what I was
power, we
doing.
Well, when you
excuse it.
believe that you're right, when you believe that
Exactly.
you're right, and you have organizations
So they do
telling
it.
you that
Yeah,
you're right,
you
it
have a whole
becomes
thing.
right.
Yeah,
That's
I
why
want to
people
do
are scary.
psychological.
Yeah, a lot scarier.
Psychological Jim Jones.
Oh,
I mean, he hey everybody, let's drink some Kool-Aid. Woo! It didn't hurt him physically, like, beat him up. Just, hey, we're all gonna have a good old time where we're going, and then That's it.
Actually, that's not entirely true. Some people were forced.
Someone like Jim Jones, was he necessarily evil, or did he just actually believe?
He's just out of his mind.
A lot of it
That's
is
the thing.
Yeah, he's drugged up.
Whatever
But that's what he'll miss. His followers thought
it was a religious crusade.
It's like,
In the same way religions can be institutional evil.
Well, let's save that for tomorrow's panel.
The same with the Nazis. If you really look down deep into German National Socialism, I'm ex-military, 101st Airborne Division, infantry, and big student of World War II. If you were to really look at German National Socialism, the gestalt of it and the meaning behind it was actually religious. It was more religious than anything else. They were on a holy crusade to save their blood. Blood. What the hell is that? It's like, so they're very, very primal. Were they wrong? Yeah. Oh, yeah. But that didn't stop it from happening.
But that's because it was a rationalization and a justification for something somebody who was a psychopath wanted to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But to spin off that too, like when you talked about the Nazis and some of the soldiers and stuff they were doing, think about the position that they're in. They were either a soldier and they have to follow these orders, or what? They go live somewhere and don't have any food or clothes for their family. So they're in essence just doing something so they can take care of their family.
From a
how that's evil is that? But from their perspective, look, I'm
they're
taking care of my family.
Fear of repercussion, perhaps.
Yeah. So they might not have been like drinking the Kool-Aid. They're just like, look, I'm just taking care of my family. If I gotta do this, I gotta do this to take care of my family. And that, in essence,
they didn't have a choice in the matter in that
doing it because
situation.
you want to, you're doing it because you want to eat.
Yeah,
It's survival.
Yeah.
That's the way institutional evil is.
Yeah. That's why it's
That's part of it.
And we're about to get
Right.
into it.
The average institutional is like you're either the enemy or
Right.
part of the we.
Yeah.
I'll throw something because we're almost done. I'll throw something. This went by quick, right? This is a pretty good question. So I wouldn't say it's evil, but I would say this. A good example, and it's not real, it's fictional, but here's a good example. The scariest thing about Jurassic Park, sure, the dinosaurs are very scary, but you know what the scariest thing was? And it wasn't even evil intention. The stupidity of, hey, let's just make dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And the question is, yeah, we could, but should we?
The human arrogance.
The human arrogance. That is terrifying, too.
Like that part where Jeff Goldblum says you were so caught up in how you should, if you could, you never thought
But
if
you
you
should.
should.
I have this drives every priest and minister I've ever told it to nuts. But I have a feeling, we've all heard of the original sin.
Yes.
Because we ate of the tree of knowledge. The original sin was by eating the tree of knowledge, we now want to become God.
The gods.
So we play God.
Yeah, the gods.
Or we play at being God, and that's why we're all screwed with the sin.
But
I'm still saying.
that's actually a retelling of Prometheus. You have a serpent giving knowledge to mankind, and then the serpent is punished for it. That's the same as Prometheus giving fire to man, and then he is punished for it. Actually, it's a reboot. Sorry. I'm an atheist and a biblical scholar. I'm friends with biblical scholars. All those stories are reboots of other stories, misinterpreted by modern people.
But yeah, I mean, I think that the whole thing is, the whole thing is just, people in general can be wonderful and they can be scary. I mean, in a very bad way. Not scary like, Halloween, which I love. Like, we're actually, we look weird, but the guy next to you that's totally normal, like, the Mr. Rogers looking guy, like Norman Bates.
Those are the scariest ones.
See, the normal ones, I always say you gotta watch out for people.
You gotta watch out for people who think they're perfect and don't think they're crazy. I'm like, I know I'm crazy, so cool with
Human
it.
terror, right?
People who
Middle
don't think they're
school.
crazy.
You're not crazy? You're not crazy.
The human terror, Mean Girls, like that world.
Yes.
Like that mentality where Jawbreaker, it's like,
Who's the one that had the second lowest body count?
Every psychologist I've ever met says that if you don't know you're
Talking about
crazy, you're crazy. If you
The
know
biggest
you're
one was a
crazy,
Brazilian guy who killed hundreds of kids out in a favela somewhere.
Well, the free time for
Columbia.
And then the short
We do shows on this shit.
Some of them have hundreds and hundreds of
Yeah, because I grew up in Brazil, and in the third world, there's
No, was it Brazil
you
had
can get away with a lot of shit over there.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
Top
They
America
didn't really
film
have
is
any
Green
reason
River.
either. They
Green River
I
Top.
said he's number one, but number
He
two
just
was
looked kind
the
of simple at that point.
necrophilia.
He just kind of glazed
No,
over.
Ted Bundy was the second.
Ted Bundy, I thought he was necrophilia.
Yeah, pretty much. And it
No,
looks
in
like that in
terms
the
of
pictures.
number of missions and patients, like second America.
What about?
That was Ted, that's what I'm talking about. Like, from what history said, Ted Bundy was gorgeous and he didn't bother anybody.
He was a doctor. He worked at a rape clinic.
Also, you also have to be slightly. You have to be slightly skeptical.
Ted Bundy, if you read about Ted
That's
Bundy,
terrifying.
Thank you. But yeah, it's actually fails over.
Okay.
No,
To answer your question,